pè padà.
Wọ́n kàn flash.
Ó kàn flash ní àbí yẹn. Ó kàn wọlé àtìgbọ́ ẹ ti kọ́kọ́ pè tẹ́lẹ̀ dem before ilé. Ó ti débẹ̀. Ó ti débẹ̀ náà. Wọ́n lè lẹ́wọ́ akọrin ògún. Olóhùn náà.
Ìyá wa.
Mọ̀ pé olóògbò ni kò mú gbọ́ ẹ̀dá ní. Wọ́n náà wọ́n wà wájú ẹ̀ gangan.
Mi ì rí wọn. Dẹ́bẹ̀ yẹn dúdú orí stage ńlá ìtàn. Ìbọn mi ì rí àwọn níbi.
Kò mú gbọ́ ẹ̀dá ní tiẹ̀ ni.
Wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ibi tẹ́ máa sùn lẹ́yìn ní Sábìbọ̀.
Kò ríran dáadáa. Wọ́n lòun jó bí sàlámà bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n lọ kàn jó bí sàlámà bẹ́ẹ̀. Àdúgbò dàbọ̀ bá bá ní sọ̀rọ̀ níta. Ẹjọ́ ìṣó ọkùnrin George ń bá kámẹ́rà fà lọ́wọ́. All right, later. Camera can't disconnect me. So then I'll try to connect it back. Yes, we are. Okay. Call the group in Niger network. Don't misbehave. Oh, my friend today. marking Mother's Day like at least 4 times in a year. You know, we have one date for the US, another date for Europe, another date for Australia, I think, another date all over the world. It's multiple times that we get to celebrate mothers. But it's only once in a year, I might be wrong, that we get to celebrate our superheroes that doesn't wear cape. And we are all aware that tomorrow is a day that we get to do that. And so for today's episode, I am super excited because this is the first time we are doing this on Real Talk with ODUN, that we get to celebrate fathers. We get to give them kudos for all the good things they're doing, for what they've done, and what they're still trying to do, you know. So my name is ODUN Akirele, and this is Real Talk with ODUN. For those of us joining us for the first time, Real Talk with ODUN is a show for women by women. This is the first time we're having just men. Oh no, this is the second time. Yes, this is the second time, but the other time was not for Father's Day. The other one and only time we've done it was people were eager to hear what men think about issues that affect women, and so we brought some men together. This is the first time we are doing it for Father's Day. So welcome to the show. Welcome everybody. This is Real Talk with ODUN. I'm super pumped for today because I have 2 guests that will try as much as possible to give their views and opinions on what and who a father should be. We all have different perceptions. We know we have absentee fathers. We've heard about deadbeat fathers. We've heard about it all. But in as much as the narrative is a lot of men are bad, we have good men. We have good fathers. We have fathers that are there. We have fathers that are providing. We have fathers that are being fathers in words and in deeds. And today we'll be trying to talk about what a real father is, what a father is. We know at times it's not just the biological clock that makes you a father. You know, there are some characteristics that stand you out, especially if you're a child of God. There are a lot of things that were addressed to fathers in the Bible. Okay, so today's show is going to be power-packed. We're going to do spiritual, we're going to do physical, we're going to do combat, you know, we're going to do it all. You know, so welcome to Real Talk with ODUN. All right, I said earlier that we have 2 guests with us. Let me give you a bit of background, okay? So when I woke up on Monday, in fact, it was I usually wake up in between sleep. So when I woke up, I was like, oh, I was thinking about the episode we're supposed to have today. And then I remember that, Father's Day is Sunday, the 19th. And I'm like, for Mother's Day, we did something. Yeah, right? You remember we had an open house where people called in to wish their parents a happy Father's Day. And so like, why don't we just do the same thing for fathers? Because most of the time we tend to overlook all they're doing. And they can be emotional beings as well. They go through what we go through as women. But most of the time, because they've been taught to mask their feelings, to mask their pain, and to just, you know, battle through it all, to walk through it all. You're a man, you don't cry, you don't show this, you don't show that. So we tend to overlook them. And so I came up with this idea, and I was thinking in my head, so who do I call? Where do I get men? Of course, I'm a woman. I tend to have a lot of women at my fingertip. But where do I get men that will be ready to come out and sit with me and talk about things that affect them as men? And the first person that came to mind was Deacon K. Okay, so if you're not Deacon K, I think you've been on the show before, right?
Yes,
yes, with his wife.
Time, yeah.
Yes, one time, I think 2021 last year.
Yeah.
And I was not like, okay, I reached out to him, and you know, like the G that he is, he replied immediately and said, let's do this. I was like, okay, 1 down. I need 1 more to go. And then I reached out to a lot of men that, you know, that I hold in high esteem, and I couldn't get anyone to comment. In fact, some of them replied after I had already concluded. So midday on Monday, he just sent me a message and said, I'll be coming with my pastor and mentor. I was like, ooh, okay, say no more. And he was even saying, I don't mind stepping down. I said, stepping down, boo. We are doing this together. You are not stepping down. And so he said, okay, he's going to bring his mentor and his pastor with him, which made me, well, let me tell you something, a side note, God is involved in every area of your life. You might not look at it as times, but little things like this bring it to the forefront that he actually cares. So I want you to give Pastor Francis Kanye a Real Talk kind of welcome to Real Talk with ODUN. Welcome so much, sir. We appreciate your time and thank you so much for doing this. Oh, okay. They're already sending comments, myself. Better now. Oh, okay. They said the King Clay is the G. Yes, he's the G. He's the G. Anyway. Okay, a little bit of background of Pastor Kaya. He's the senior pastor of World Life Assemblies, a growing network of churches with the headquarters in Ibadan, Nigeria. He's also an author, a publisher, and an inspirational teacher. He is the CEO of Destiny Booster International, a success, motivation, and peak performance organization. Some of his titles, of course, he has written a lot of books, and some of the title is When Success is Your Decision, Won't You Make Your Life Count? Discover Yourself and Succeed, Winning Attitude, Bounce Back from Setback, Principles You Discover Will Take You to Pinnacle You Desire, Laws of Progressive Accomplishment, and a whole lot of others. Pastor Kolade is devoted to learning, living, and teaching scriptural success principles to help people experience and enjoy enduring success. He's happily married, and they are blessed with 3 beautiful children. Welcome, sir. They're saying, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome to RealTALK with ODUN, sir. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Thank you, sir. All right. So before we start the show, I was asking the King K for his bio. Okay. He said he doesn't have a bio. So I'm going to let him introduce himself because he did not give me.
Well, I think I'm like Melchizedek. Alright, so my name is Kayode Oshilaja. There are many things to many people. Some people call me Deacon K.
Deacon K. You call him Deacon K.
So I am Brother K, right?
Okay.
Well, I'm a Christian. I give my life to Christ for, it's been a while now. And talking about my journey into Christianity, you know, you need a lot of people to come around and kind of nurture you spiritually and kind of guide you in Christian ways. So that's how God brought Pastor Kanye into my life. That's about 20 something years ago. So, and since that time, it's been very consistent. It's somebody that I look forward to, I look up to in terms of training, maturity, Christian principles, and things like that. So, and everywhere I go, I love to have him around me, and I celebrate every opportunity to be with him. So, in terms of in the secular world, I also work daytime.
Yeah, he's not just brother. He's not just brother.
So I work as IT security personnel, you know, in the secular world. But as a Christian, I am a Christian. So
yeah, he's a Christian and an IT guru. Do you guys see? I mean, he's what we call spirit Jim. You remember when we were we always say spirit Jim. So he's spirit Jim.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome so much, sir. Welcome. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you. He's a super fan. You see, the first time we started RealTALK, he was sharing it everywhere. When he could not share it, he would text me, "Where is this episode? Please send it to me." And then he was like putting it out there on social media. Yeah. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. That's so encouraging when someone you see up there is like taking it upon themselves to do things like that. It's encouraging. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. All right, so let's go straight into it. You know, we don't talk too much. We try. It's a men's episode. So we won't do it like the way we do when it's just women. And so we'll do it like Yoruba will say, "Shoki loving." Okay? So I'm going to ask you first, sir, what does it mean to be a father?
All right. Thank you. For me, I believe that father is first of all a mandate before it's a responsibility. And if we see it that way, we will not get bogged down with responsibility, because there are challenges that go with fatherhood. But if you know that you have a mandate from heaven to raise the next generation, okay, then you become, you take it more serious than you think that it's necessary for. We used to think that some people will say marriage is a necessary evil. They also think that bringing children up is a necessary evil. But I believe that it's a privilege that God gives to us to be the source of the next generation. They come from us, and then we raise them up and we put the baton in their hands to continue where we start. So it's a rare privilege, and I believe that if we see it from that perspective, we'll be excited as fathers, and we do what is expected of us. So the father is a source, okay, and it's a trainer, and it is the source from where the next generation, comes from.
Wow.
That's what I can say
Wow.
for now.
Ay, ay, ay. Fatherhood is a mandate, not a responsibility. Wow. Wow. That's like in the voice of my producer, that's deep right there. You can hear me now. That's deep right there. As in, fatherhood is a mandate. You're a source of the next generation. Now, what you put out there matters, basically. That's what that means. You're a source of the next generation. The hope of the next generation depends on you. So that's let me go to you.
What comes to mind when I think about a father is that a father is not just a male child. It's not just anybody that has the capability or the physique to bring forth a child. It's not. It's a responsibility. And every time I have the opportunity to talk to people, I say, see, you are assuming a responsibility or a job role that you don't even have the full job description before you assume, right? So a father comes with maturity. He talks about making a conscious and intentional investment in the next generation. So that's what makes a father. It's not just a man child, it looks like a man, so it's a father. No, it's somebody that he knows his job and is doing it consciously. Maturity is involved and conscious effort in investing into not just your biological child or children, but anybody that you identify as something that you have something to invest in their life. That's a father.
Wow, thank you so much. I don't know, some people are saying the audio is not loud. If we can make it a bit loud, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And you said it's the characteristics. You don't have to be fine. It's not because you are huge. It's not because you're six-pack. Okay, it's not because you're six-pack, or it's not because of you can score as many goals as possible. Those are not the things that makes someone a father. And you said something that I think we need to elaborate on about the fact that it's not because you biologically brought someone to this life. As long as you can impact that child beside you, that colleague you meet at work. So can you just expatiate on that a bit?
So now, when we come to that aspect, that aspect of you making an intentional impartation or investment into the life of somebody, we are talking about you mentoring people into or pioneering a generation, directing them. And of course, there is no way we're going to talk about this without looking at the spiritual perspective of the whole thing. So it's not just guiding people recklessly, but consciously, spiritually, and not just your own biological children, but we're talking about you making a conscious effort in the life of everyone. Talking about Abraham, Bible says, because I know that he will command his children after me. He will command. That's very, very deep. So it's not just about you being able to do what you think you can do, but you being able to command your children, after him. And not just his own children. At that time, he doesn't even have much of the children. So he had the servants with him. He had a lot of people living in his house. And he was able to lead them. And that's why we now say Abraham blessings are mine. Now. But how many children? In fact, I have more children than Abraham. Right? So that's just it. So it's about impact, not just about
goal scoring. It's about impact. It's about inspiration. It's about the lives you are affecting out there. It's about the lives you're touching. What difference are you making in your own way? So that's what makes you a father. And I know at times we put a lot of responsibility on the men or on that word father. but it's just what it is.
And also, in addition to that, we are not even talking about age here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You could be 10 years younger than somebody that you are making
Impacting.
Yeah, that
yes,
you are impacting.
And
And also, we can, when we look at it from the perspective of in other areas of life too, we are also making impact in the life of people.
Yeah.
Moving
It
them
might be your
forward.
community, it might be your church, it might be your workplace, it might be you just being an all-round responsible person. That's what I think it is. So let me come to you, sir.
All right.
And let's not talk about being a biological father,
Okay.
right? What are some of the characteristics that will make someone say, this person is a good father?
Okay. Apart from giving birth, that is a general. Well, a father is someone who is willing to sacrifice for somebody else that he calls his son. Okay, because I believe very much that being a father is much more than giving birth to a child. You can give birth to a child and you are not the father of that child. Because if you don't invest in that child, they used to say in Yoruba that the son knows his father.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain people somebody may be your birth father, but yet it's not your father. Somebody that raised you up, that invested into your life, that sacrificed for you, that is your father. So a father is someone who sacrifices. A father is a role model. Okay, someone you can look up to and say, I want to be like this. I want my life to be like this. Someone who trains you with his own lifestyle, not just teaching, because some people teach but they don't do. Okay, but someone who teaches and demonstrates, and so you look at him and you say, I want to be like this person. That is a father. And see, when you bring up such people, they look up to you as a father, even though you are not their biological father, because you have really affected their life and influenced their life. So that's a father. A father sacrifices. A father is a role model. A father lives for others. Those people is raising. Okay, so he can go extra mile for the benefits of those who are looking up to him as father. So that's those things are very important.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. You said a father lives for others. A father sacrifices their own comfort for the comfort of another. That's who a father is. And in this age and generation where roles have been swapped. Roles have been swapped. I say that a lot. I tell people that a lot. Like what we knew growing up is not what is happening now.
That's true.
Roles have been swapped, and I think at times we need to sit down and have this kind of conversation with our men. Okay, so one of the things that make you a father is not because you can actually give birth. It's because you can sacrifice your comfort for the other person. Is that you can impact life. You can do the do and not just the talk. You know, so let me ask you too, aside the being a sacrificial person, being a role model, what other characteristics makes someone a good father?
Very good point. I was thinking some times ago that is there any difference between a father and a dad? Now, that what I've been able to come to in terms of my own definition is that everybody can be a father. Yeah. Right? Just popping baby everywhere. You're a father. Hey, who is your father? That's your father. Right? But when we talk about a dad, we are talking from the perspective of relationship. The relationship with the child or with whoever that you have seen as your own child. How committed are you to that person? So to be a father is not enough, but just to also be a dad. Somebody that nurture consciously, right? Okay, now I lost my father when I was 7 years old. You understand? But I still remember few things that I learned at that earlier stage of my life. I still remember so many things that I learned from him at that age. He will not want you to go to church late. He will make sure that you go to school, you come back and read your book and things like that. He looks at me and says, okay, from the way I'm looking at you, you are going to be this and this and this. And he never me. 7 years, I mean, that's over 30 something years ago now. But what are we talking about? a father is somebody that have a genuine relationship, you know, with whoever that you identify as your son. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. So having a genuine relationship, actually being in the life of that child that you called. We are going to still talk about this absentee father thing because it's a lot now. Because the fact that you gave birth does not make you a father. You can just give birth and just disappear, which is what is happening now. So the fact that you are committed to staying in the life of another life that you brought, you know, that's where we can confidently say that is a father. Thank you so much. So, sir, let me ask you. Part of the responsibilities that we placed on fathers is the ability to be able to provide. So, what are the challenges of being the breadwinner as a man?
All right. Well, I believe, you know, I first told you that fatherhood is a mandate. So when something is something you have to do, it helps you to be focused, and it helps you to ask God for help. You see, when you don't know that you have to do it or you want to dodge it, then you can give all kinds of excuses for not doing it. But if you know that God has given you a mandate, He's put some people in your life and say, father them for me. Okay, whether they are biological or not, you know that you need to make a provision. The Bible says in 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 8 that if a man will not provide for his own, especially those of his own household, is worse than an infidel. It's worse. Okay, so number one job of a father is provision. He cannot excuse himself from that. Okay, now we know that it's possible that the father may not be able to provide as much as he should at a particular stage of his life. But if the child and the wife knows that the man will go to any length to do the best he can do at that situation, they are going to accept whatever he has to offer. And then because he's trusting in God, God does not leave us at the same spot. He moves us up gradually and gradually. And because you are willing to provide for your family, God is going to give you channels, open up channels for you. He's going to give you opportunities. He's going to connect you to the point that you will begin to have enough to take care of your children, of your family. But the first thing is that you must be willing to do so. Not just give birth and become irresponsible. If you're willing, God will make way for you. But you must accept also that it is your responsibility to provide for your family.
Thank you so much. Bitter truth. It is your responsibility. Provisions, no matter how little, let the effort show. Yes, that's what he just said. That no matter what, just be willing to provide. It's part of your responsibility. Like I said the other time, I know that roles have swapped now at times, but the way God ordained it is for the man to provide. It's a bitter truth. I know in this work generation, they are like, why can't the woman provide? The woman is working too, why can't? But that is not what God intended from the onset. So a lot of things have happened that made that change, but the mandate as a father is to provide. That is your job description. Okay, so Dikike, let me ask you, hold on. In fact, some mothers should be addressed as a father now. Because nowadays, mothers tend to do more of these stuffs mentioned in the life of their children than the father. And that's sad.
It's sad.
It is sad. And most of the time, when the man will not assume his responsibility as a provider, so it's going to fall. And because God will not leave the next generation in the hands of a careless driver, you understand? It is true. So, and the man is going to raise the woman, step in and do that, right? That's the truth. But it's the sad truth. But the truth of the matter is, as a man, you are a provider.
Yes.
That is what the Bible says.
Someone just said, fathers who allow the mother play their roles have lost their mandates.
That's true.
Well, yes.
Very simple.
It's that's
just it.
So, if you know that your capability, right, will not make you to provide, or you've tried all possible, why not go to God? It's your father, so you go to him and ask for help. That you ask me to do this, I need means. You have to be sincere with God. You have to have a way of communicating with God. But if you don't go to God, you think you're a macho man, you can do that, and now you fall through, and God will not leave your children to go.
Sorry, we are talking about people, men that actually want to work. We know some men doesn't want to work.
Oh, yeah.
We know some men are lazy.
That's true.
And we don't want to be telling them to go to God. Because that's my out for them. That's the window for them. They told me to go to God.
No, go
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, sir. God will not answer the prayer of a lazy man.
Yeah.
If you don't want to work, you just want to be praying and praying. The Bible said faith without work
is dead.
I know some fathers or those people that consider themselves a father. I don't know how they do that really, that you wake up as a man and you're playing video games. I mean, I was like, when I heard about it, I said, did it happen on that?
I'm telling you.
I mean, and then you wake up and be asking people for $100. I said, seriously? So it's a serious business.
Yes, it is.
Everyone has to assume their responsibility.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. There's a bit of something going on here. Someone said, hold on, we celebrate those mothers. Those are mothers that act like fathers. And another person said, we will celebrate those mothers on next Mother's Day.
Wonderful.
Mothers that assume the role of a father should be addressed as a father. What do you think?
Well,
wow.
It's true.
Technically
it's true, but we should also be conscious so that we are not just trying to switch the roles, right? But the truth of the matter is, a father should provide. Now, when we now talk about gender, then we want to be very careful. The gender role
that's another thing entirely. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I strongly agree with Shola. Shola said, well, they should be celebrated on Father's Day too, because that's mothers that are acting like fathers. Okay. Yes, we all are celebrated. Let's just leave it at that. Just move on. So, Pastor Kanye, let me ask you: is it a sole responsibility for you as a man, or do you welcome the assistance from your wife? Now we are talking about you're responsible, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but do you want to do the macho? You know, especially as Africans, we always want to do, I'm the man. So, but do you welcome the support of your spouse when it comes to provision?
I think the starting point is that you are willing to provide for your family and you accept it as your sole responsibility.
Yes.
You see, because if you don't accept it as your sole responsibility, if the woman decides not to support or not to support as much as you want her to support, you can start, having bitterness towards her. But once you know that you are the one responsible, so whatever she brings, you really appreciate her. And you really thank her. That, oh, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for coming to my aid. Whatever it is she can do. And if she can't do anything, you won't blame her because it's not her job. It's your job. Okay? So if your wife is willing to support you, praise God. That is the kind of wives we want.
Yeah.
We pray for. Who will willingly, don't force them to do it. They willingly, they see how much we are trying to provide for our family. And they just really need support this man. Okay? And Bible calls them helpmates. Okay, so they come to support us. We embrace that support and we appreciate them. We let them know that we really appreciate them. Because some men don't appreciate because they think that she should also be doing that.
Yeah.
It's my job, it's coming to help me. So whatever she brings, I should really appreciate it.
Basically, it's not your right. Some men demand for it, but it's not your right. Basically, it's not your right to demand for it. You must do it. I'm paying the house rent, you pay the buy the electric bill. The people are living to it, they are both our children. Why can't you pay the school fees? It is not their job.
I mean, it's not the job of the wife to assume yours, but we understand that there are some times that maybe what you are bringing in, right, is not sufficient to meet the overhead cost, right? then you know that you know how to act nicely also. Right?
Not demanding.
Even without telling the wife, she knows
Exactly.
that, okay,
Yeah.
now I know that this is what we are, and you are open, you are transparent also. It's not like something that is, you are the one, the alpha and the omega, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's open to both of you that this is how much I'm making, and this is how far we can go. With my finances, then she knows by default that, okay, now this is what I can do to come in. Oftentimes it happens in marriages that you know that these things is not going the way you want to go, but I need your help, and she showed up and things like that. So not like a demand that I paid for the
electricity bill,
you pay for the water bill, and you're expecting that every time, or I pay your Uber trip to somewhere, and you must refund me. You know? That's not a father. Or
I know that's the new way of running family now. You know, but by unacceptable way, and which is why we have a lot of issues now. That's something else we can't do. I don't want to get into because I have always believed that the changing of these things, the changing of the norm created a bit of a problem for us.
That's correct. That's correct.
And it's sad, but I know at times they want to say women wants to be kept, women wants to be kindergarten, women wants to be that. But the switching created a bit of a problem. I can help. It will be my decision to help. I will decide to help. Nobody needs to put that extra demand on me to help.
Must.
It's not a must. Thank you so much for that, sir. It's not a must. It is a welcome thing. It is what should happen actually, averagely. Like I'm married to you, and you can't foot the bill this month. I can. I can just take it up. So it doesn't have to be you. Joby is working. Joby, we have the children together. Joby, you are collecting. What are you doing with your money? You know, it is well. God will help us.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Okay. Welcome, Mendo official. I need to welcome a bit of people. Bemaj, thank you, Anna, thank you, Shola, thank you, Tiana, thank you, Cutie. I saw some names the other time, but a lot of things are coming up. We celebrate fathers that wear the cap and do the do. Giving birth to a child does not automatically make you a father. We have father, we have dad, we have sperm donor.
Okay.
Wow. We shall celebrate them. They are amazing. So we celebrate you. To all the great fathers out there, we love, respect, and celebrate you.
Well, actually caught my attention on this sperm donor. That's a new dimension. Oh, father. And the sower went to sow seed and went where?
Alright, thank you so much. Pastor Kaya, let me ask you. So how do you balance your role? Like for you, this is actually a good question for you being a pastor, right? And now you are in the US for we don't know for how long. And then you have to travel a lot, you have to be out of the house a lot. So how do you balance your role as a father and as a husband?
Well, the way I believe God designed it, God comes first in our relationship, then our family comes second, and then if you're a pastor, maybe your ministry, if you're secular, maybe your job, and if we put things in their proper shape and proper place, it will help us. Anytime you have to be with your family, be with your family. And even if you are not there physically, you are still there because the technology has made it so possible now that you can be thousands or tens of thousands miles away and you are still with that person. Okay? Fellowshipping together, talking together, sharing together. So you never leave home, as it were. Okay? And I believe that if you love your family, you also want to talk with them every time. You know? So if peradventure your job or your ministry will have to take you away from home, you are still at home because you are keeping in touch. You know, you're in contact, so that you don't allow anything to separate you from your family, because that's all you've got. After God is your family, and it's so very important.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. When you were talking, I just I had a flashback of yesterday's devotional.
Okay.
And Daddy Gio was talking about husband loving their wives, and was citing some example about wherever he goes to in the world, the first person he talks to is his wife. That before he is a pastor, he's first and foremost an husband. and so that he carries, his wife might not be there, but he carries the wife with him. And so I want to ask you, Deacon K, is that a kind of another kind of pressure that we put on men, especially men of God?
No, it's not a prayer, because number one, what makes you a father or a husband or a Christian or a pastor is you nurturing these two lives of yours, which is being a father and a husband.
Can it actually be separated?
It cannot really be separated, because number one, you know, your relationship with your wife as a husband to your wife is a lifetime thing, right? And your relationship with your children too as a father is also a lifetime thing. But along the line, they are going to go and start their own family and leaving you behind. But your wife must be your lifetime partner, right? So that journey with you all along. You don't want to leave her behind because of children, and you don't want to leave your children also behind because of your wife. So you have to carry both of them together. Take for example myself. Nature of my job sometimes will not even give me so much time to spend with my wife or with my kids, but it has to be intentional. Sometimes when I feel like I have 5 minutes, I just go and look at her and say, I just want to say hello to you.
Oh, wow.
You know, that kind of thing. And also the children too. I say, okay, you know, I have 5 minutes, let's do a walk around. You spend time with them, right? That is the most important thing. So, you cannot really separate the role of a father and the husband. And you have to. And the pastor, for those that are pastors, I'm a church member. So you can't really separate that, but they take the premium thing. Spend time
they come first.
Yeah,
they are your first ministry before
I know the ministry will go eventually, but they will be left with you. And the way you train them, you nurture them will determine how they will start the next generation.
Wow, that's deep right there. How you nurture them.
It's even one of the requirements of becoming a pastor. You must have a wife and children who you can know that, okay,
you've managed successfully.
Because if you cannot manage your wife and your children, how are you going to manage people? So if you fail at home, you will fail.
Oh, wow. I think we need to re-emphasize that. Please put that in the chat. If you fail at home, you will fail on the altar. We know a lot of husbands that are good pastors, but horrible husbands. I am sorry. I know one personally. If you fail at home, you failed on the altar. Not whatever thing you do on the altar is
just
wow. If a pastor is preaching, if a pastor is preaching, and then you need to look at the face of the wife and the face of the children.
There's one black eye.
Or they are saying you are a liar. You don't do that. You are just saying it.
There's no affirmation from home.
You can be a preacher, not be a practitioner.
Oh wow.
And so God wants you to be a practitioner at home, then you come and be a preacher.
Wow.
That is when you are not a two-faced person.
Wow. Wow. Deep, a lot of wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. And someone said this sperm donor thing. The most common now are sperm donors. And someone, Beam said, Beam, you supposed to add husband. The us is spelled HORSE. Band jumping. Oh, we have Stephanie here. Hi, Steph.
Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
Hi, Stephanie. Some sperm donors are the one that graduates to husband. Houseband those that doesn't have anywhere to go. Okay, they said there's houseband too.
Okay.
Those that doesn't have anywhere to go but sit at home 247. Wow.
Different variations.
I'm telling you, it is well. If you fail at home, you fail on the altar. I'm telling you. That right there, they are just repeating that. If you're a pastor, if you fail at home, you will fail on the altar. Right, basic. That's like, I think that should be like a logo. I don't know, maybe that will get across to men. That if you fail, especially, we are Christians, and the truth of the matter is, personally, I don't like to shy away from the issues that we have. as Christians.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because like before I actually even got married, there was a lot of pastors that I know that when you get close to the wife, you will know that. And I remember my late dad always said, before you can ordain someone, you need to go to the house and talk to the neighbors. So that, I think that's another thing entirely. But
carry out some verification.
I'm very in fact do some under G investigation.
Yeah, because when you lay hands on the wrong person to become a pastor, so you just kind of promote, you promote whatever that person is, and that will be wrong.
And what most times the thing we are basing our decision on is what we see in church.
Exactly.
Which is most times it's not the real thing.
It's not the real thing.
It's just a public show.
Yes, it is. Wow, thank you so much. See that room 247 and ask for urgent 2K. They said the house bands. See that room 247 and ask for urgent 2K. Mama Dejumo brought a pastor's wife to our show a few weeks ago. I literally cried. Oh wow. Wow. That's to tell you some of the things that are happening with. Anyway, God will help us. So let's go to the absentee fathers. I know a lot of them would want us to talk about this because that's why they are doing all this urgency tattoo, husband thing. So let me ask you, how for a woman now, you are a man, you're a pastor, you're a father, because I like the hierarchy. You're a man, you're a father, you're a pastor, right? So now, how would you address a woman that has been dealing with an absentee father?
Well, maybe we need to define with us what absentee father is, because there are different reasons why a man could become absent. For example, if your job takes you from somewhere to another place, you know, you are not physically at home, okay, but that does not stop you from carrying out your responsibility. And a absentee father could be at home with the children, with the wife of the children, but it's not playing the role
of a father,
of a husband. So I believe that is a real absentee father. You understand what I'm saying? And it's one of the most unfortunate things that could happen, where the man who is supposed to be the leader, the priest, the protector, the defender, the provider, you know, the role model, is not there. It's a very challenging thing, you know, and when we see children who come up and they don't come up well, if we go back home, we'll find out that we have absentee fathers. Fathers who were not properly
either they're physically,
even though physically, they could be there physically, but they are not practically involved with the children. The children can't grow up by themselves. They need someone to be there for them, okay, to support them, to tell them what is wrong from what is right. Okay, and if the father is absent, if you look at the scriptures in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 4, where it says the father should not provoke their children, but they should bring them up in the natural direction. But everywhere I see in the scripture, there's no place where the Bible talks about mothers
doing this.
It's the father.
It's the father.
The job, number one job of a father, to bring up great children. So if a child does not come up well, then number one culprit is not the mother. It's the father. You know, father has a way of shifting it to the mother. Say,
even our culture, even our culture will tell you much about that.
It's for the father. The one that's not.
The one that is not bad should actually be for the father.
That's what I'm saying.
Both.
It's children.
It's the job of the father to bring up the children. And if you look at home, in their home scenario, you see that the fear and the respect that children have for their father is greater than what they have for them. Probably because they carry them in the womb and there's this affinity. So but for father, they have this reverence. And I believe God puts it there so that the father will be able to train the children. Because you cannot follow the instruction of someone that you don't have a reference to. So God puts it there, you know, in man for the children to reverence him, so that when he's training them and bringing them up, they can respond to him so that they can become great children. So if a father loses sight of what God is expecting him to do in his home, and then the children become wayward, and God is going to hold him responsible. All of us are going to show up in the presence of God. What did you do with the woman I gave you? What did you do with the children I gave you? Okay?
Oh, wow.
So it's important for us to not just physically present now, but to be practically present in the life of our children.
Wow.
Stay with them until they grow up and they're able to stand.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Wow. I really don't even know the one to re-emphasize. But please, if you are watching this, please just highlight the points that you're getting, because it's like a lot of nuggets is coming out. And wow. Thank you so much, sir. Let me just read through this place again. They were talking about the pastor's wife said her husband, who is the so-called bishop of the church, calls her bastard and then come to the altar to praise her. And then she must smile, or else he will beat her for giving him attitude when they get home. And he said pastors as husbands and fathers is a whole different topic. That is sad for me as a Christian. Because they are supposed to be role models. They're supposed to be the people an unbeliever will see and emulate. But it's not that way anymore. It's, in fact, in this generation, I think it's become more difficult for you to just emulate a Christian. You rather want to go your own way.
And it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be. It is sad.
It shouldn't be.
It is sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Brother Billy Kone was talking one time. I think I read one of his articles that time. He said, we've read the story of prodigal son, but haven't you read the story of a prodigal father? Right? A prodigal father, in his own definition that time, talks about a man when you ought to spend time with your children, when you ought to nurture them, when you ought to be involved in their life, to be their dad, not just their father. You send them to their mom. Go to your mother. Go to your mother. Right? Now those children, they grew up to the point that they now went to their own home. Now it's now time. The mom now died. Right? So now at old age, you have none of those children with you because you did not train any of their lives then.
Yeah.
So when it's time for you to, hey, I want to come and visit her, that will be out of time. Right? So the time that you're supposed to spend with your children to invest in their life, to be their father, you squander it. Right? You squander it playing games and playing
other things. There at all.
Yeah.
Like just, we know some people.
Now when it's time for you to now, for you to now sit down with them and enjoy that, you have nothing to read because you did not even sow anything initially. So that's a prodigal father.
Now let me ask you a question, sir.
Yes.
Like that prodigal father, we know the prodigal son came back, right, and the father accepted. Are these children obligated to also welcome such prodigal fathers?
Well, by biblical standard, they ought to. Right? They have to forgive and forget. But remember, forgiveness does not even take away the pain of the past. Right? This thing going to be kind of reluctant. Even himself, he knows that he wants to reap where he had not sown. That reluctance will be there even for him.
Sir, you've not seen today's fathers though. Reluctance, Nico.
That's shameless fathers.
They're shameless fathers, yes. Thank you, sir. That's the word.
Yeah,
shameless fathers.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
So that's just
not bring up.
You want to come?
You're now placing a demand.
A demand of
do
them.
this for them.
Yeah.
And you were not a father when you were supposed to be a father.
Father.
You're now telling them to respond to you as a father.
That you ought
That's
to be giving me
shameless.
money.
Wow.
Yes, it's shameless.
Wow.
And those people, they want to obey God by respecting their parents. But
yeah, they just don't want to commit. They don't want to be. So, oh wow, did you hear that? If you do not take care of your child, and then you come after when there's someone or something to place a demand on them, you are a shameless man. Wow, wow. The only wish I had hoped come through, I wish my dad can come back to life. He was such a good man, present, practically and sacrificially. Yes, he was. That's my sister. So yes. My dad literally would play with us. We play tennis, we play football, we do all those things together, play Ludo growing up. So at times I don't even want to remember. I don't know why she's drinking it. It's easy to forgive, sir, but you can't build that bond again by that time. Yes,
it's late at that
it's
point.
a lot, sir. What's the African magic you will see? Okay, the African magic you will see them sit down and eat without shame. Okay, they're saying that you will see them, they will sit down and eat without shame. Without, in fact, nowadays they brag about it. They will say, "Toma bati dagba, oma wa ba bello."
That's a shameless man.
Oh.
That's not a man.
It's not a man. It's a sperm donor.
It's not a man. Men don't talk like that. You know, you can have a male features. You can have male features.
And not really be a man.
Difference between
Oh,
being
wow.
a male and being a man.
Wow.
So that's just a male. It's not a man.
Wow.
Man has shame. When a man cannot rise up to his responsibility, he feels shame. And he looks for a way to make sure that he makes up.
Wow.
But when it's just a male, he doesn't care. He say, well, if I don't do it, let the woman go and do it also.
Shameless. And it's not a man.
It's not.
I wish a lot of men can watch this. We are not dissing men. We are just addressing these issues that I believe most of the time the church doesn't want to talk about it. The church shy away from it, but it is what it is. It's what is happening, and I believe the church should address it more.
That's true.
That's just the truth. I'm sorry, sir, I know you're pastor, but
That's true.
it's just I believe the church could address these issues more.
That's correct.
Because most of the times we just act as if it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know, and just ignore it. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. Now you get the spam donor. They said you finally get the spam donor. They said now you get the spam donor. Okay. So thank you so much, sir, for that. So let's talk about the mental health with all the pressures of parenting. Like, should your mental health as a man be taken into consideration? Now I'm talking about, like we've been saying the whole day, we're talking about men that are men, that are not shameless, that are there in the lives of their family, that are providing, that are doing what they're supposed to do. They are there in war, they are there physically, they are there spiritually, they are there sacrificially in every way. So should we be concerned about the mental health? Do you as a man at times feel as if all these things is too much for you?
Well, I've never thought in my own life to think that all these things are too much for me. But the truth of the matter is, the talk about the mental health is becoming an in thing now.
Yeah.
Things that people need to focus on.
Yeah.
And it's not just a man or men alone now. Everyone needs to take responsibility in addressing that aspect, right? That you want to even go to some psychologists and am I even normal? Come and conduct assessment on me, right? So it's something that needs to be addressed really and truly, and also consciously as a man, especially if you know that you are working too hard and you feel like this thing is eating or affecting you, take some time off, right? Take some time off, right? Take some time off, spend time even with yourself.
Yeah.
Do some analysis of things that you feel that you need to do, that you want to. I mean, do some mental work on yourself too. It's something that we need to actually address. Really and truly. I never even thought about that, but now that you bring it up,
I'm
now
not
you
bringing
start to
anything
think. But really and truly, it's essential that we talk about
recharge.
this. Yeah,
You
recharge.
need to take time to
Go for
recharge.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're feeling overwhelmed, because most of the time they've been taught as men not to be overwhelmed, not to show it, not to
Don't
just
cry.
don't cry.
Yeah,
You cannot be overwhelmed. How can you be overwhelmed by that? But the real of the truth is they are human as well, and at times some things can get to you. So when those things are getting to you, like the King said, take time off, go and recharge. Take time to be with yourself. That's what he said. He said, take time to be with yourself. So let me ask you too, sir. So, these men are sad that the people who need to hear this are not here. Yeah, most of the times, men don't do this.
Then we can share the
share the video, send it to your brothers, send it to your friends, everybody, your husbands, you can just share it with them.
Yeah, let them hear it.
Yes, they should. Those ones that are really a father and dad need some accolades. I need some time for fresh air to rewind. Yes. Evie is the head that wears the crown. Welcome, Basic Reflection. That's the guy. So he's saying Evie is the head that wears the crown. So let me ask you about the mental health. Like, you have a lot that you do at times. So do you ever feel as if you're getting burnt out? Like, you need time. I need to go take care of my mental health. Do you feel that pressure?
Well, I don't feel pressure. I believe that there are some issues that can really help us not to be overwhelmed. Okay, and the first one is that our mental attitude. You see, the way we think, your attitude is the way you think and the way you feel that affect the way you behave. You see, if the health inside, your inside, if it's not thinking right and feeling right, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect the way you relate with other people and all of that. So a man and a father must always work on his attitude. That's very important. And our attitude is not always right just because we are men or just because we are Christian. Because they are Christians who have bad attitude. That's number one. The number two is that man should learn to depend on God. You see, if you have a helper, life becomes easier if you know you have a helper. You understand what I'm saying? And we should not be macho. There's nobody who's sufficient for these things on his own. You need to learn to rely on God. You need to cultivate. Probably, like me, I gave my life to Jesus as a youth. So I got married as a child of God. And so I don't take those responsibilities as something I can do by myself. I rely on God to help me. So it doesn't weigh down on me because I don't see myself doing anything. I can't even take care of myself. Not to talk of take care of a wife and take care of other children. So when I depend on God, He takes the load on me. He says, cast your burden upon the Lord and He shall sustain thee and He shall never allow your foot to be moved. So most of the time, if we don't learn how to cast it on God, He said, cast your care upon the Lord, for He cares for you. You understand what I'm saying? So if you learn to cast it upon God, you learn to depend on God, and you watch your attitude, I believe the burden will be lightened. And anytime you feel overwhelmed, disconnect. Find a way where you can stay on your own. If it's 2 days or 3 days, get some refreshing, and then you can come back and take your responsibility.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So important.
Wow, thank you so much. So they both said you need to take time off. If you're feeling as if everything is going to overwhelm you, you're feeling as if this thing is going to swallow you, take time off and go recharge. There's really nothing wrong in you taking time off.
No.
Most of the times, men want to project this, that nothing gets to me. I can do it all through. Yes, not that.
I can do all this.
Take time to recharge. Take time away from it all. Take 2, 3, 4 days. Go somewhere and just let go of the pressure. Take the pressure off yourself. And like you said, you can actually take it off and put it on God. He's always there. Most of the times, we just put Him at the back of the corner. We don't think to transfer some things to Him. We at times we feel we are sufficient in our own way, which is not so true. We are not in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so at times we just need to let go. All right, they are saying those men that are present and that provide, they are calling them. They said they are more baba nu, they are more baba gongon nu. All right, give God the reins. Yes. Uneasy. Okay, the AC's reflection said, "Envy is the head that wears the crown." Another person who is a lady came back and said, "Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown." So, suck it up. Suck it up. All right. Thank you all so much. So, Adikike, let me ask you. Let's talk about parenting. All right. Let's talk about. I think we were having this conversation before we start the show. Let's talk about modern day parenting and old school parenting. What some people would call the way you were brought up, the way I was brought up, the way he was brought up. Which one would you choose?
That's a very good question. Now, when I think about the way we were brought up, the old way, using that terminology, and the new way, let's think about the expectation first. What our parents then expect us to be, or were expecting us to be, and what we also want our next generation to be, which should be our focus, which is we want to bring up a godly